Thousands of years ago, humankind learned something far more important than any modern-day technology or discovery. Do not murder. Even though this is violated over and over, it still remains the most important glue that allows humankind to survive. In the past, the murdering was often committed in the name of religion or God, even though no real God would in any way promote or condone murder. Hitler made it about race. Racial superiority as the excuse to murder or enslave has largely been repudiated, but not completely. For example, in Darfur is an example, the murdering and genocide there. Murder in the name of religion is often not repudiated and continues to be used to justify murder. Think Yazidis, Baha'is in Iran, Christians in northern Nigeria, Jews in the land of Israel, and others. Hamas made it clear long before October 7th that their goal is to commit murder and genocide against Jews. They declared this in their words and in their actions, including wave after wave of suicide bombers sent to murder Israeli civilians. On October 7th, Hamas murdered defenseless civilians inside of Israel, of all ages, from babies to the very old. This was not war. This was murder. Israel responded with war, and in war, civilians always die. Murder and war are not the same. Hamas uses civilians of Gaza as their human shields from which to wage war and hide behind and beneath. No one is being asked to support or like Israel, but support for Hamas does nothing but enable them to continue murdering in Israel and harming the children and other civilians of Gaza. The same applies for Hezbollah, where they're calling for war, starting wars, and then complaining about civilian casualties is beyond shameful. Hamas, Hezbollah, the Iranian regime, and their allies are doing everything they can to murder Jews and to destroy Israel. Hamas, or Hitler, made his murdering about race. Hamas, Iranian regime, Hezbollah, Houthis, make their murdering about religion. They want Israelis murdered. The mobs in the West, supporting Hamas, Hezbollah, Iranian regime, Houthis, and their murdering genocidal agenda, often use buzzwords they think justifies murder. Some in the mobs do not hide what this is really about: kill Jews. Others think that murder is excusable, even laudable, if they use one of the buzzwords. They think that murder, rape, kidnapping, burning people alive, beheading, all of which Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and others from Gaza committed on October 7th, is defensible. When they use one of their buzzwords, the argument often deteriorates into a rebuttal of their claims instead of what this is really about. They are looking to justify murder, and murder is never justified. Legitimate rebuttals to their accusations often lead nowhere. They want to make exceptions for murder, and there are none. For example, if someone is a colonizer, settler, or living on occupied lands, they claim, then murder is justified. Much of the human population lives on lands that were colonized, settled, and are now occupied from the original indigenous people. They are selective, these people, these supporters, defenders of murder, and supporters of Hamas, Hezbollah, the Iranian regime, and so forth. They are selective as to who can be murdered by standards they themselves have determined and do not live by. Even if their narratives were true about the people of Israel, which they are not, it does not change the fact that murder is the right of no one. Murder is never justified, not by the buzzwords or by anything else. All of the buzzwords, colonialism, settlers, apartheid, racism, occupation, resistance, and whatever else they can think of to justify murder does not negate the one indisputable reality that has been with humankind since time immemorial, and that still stands. Thou shalt not murder. Murder is always wrong and never defensible. There are no exceptions. No matter how much the anti-Israel crowd tries to make exceptions for murder, there are none. It does not exist. If this world continues to become so twisted, so perverted, so filled with evil that this commandment no longer applies, thou shalt not murder, if it no longer applies, then there is no hope left for humanity.